Oh, oh, this one feels bad. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, it's just the target. I know what I'm doing. Let's just do our job. Oh my god. It's just this feeling is so strong. It's just the energy of this feeling is so strong. We have a car, which gives us, or could be any vehicle really, could suggest a time period being when we have cars. Like a dead body which has decomposition and gets bloated from gas. That's the feeling I had. Someone is going somewhere very fast. A determined mind. The viciousness of an attack. Someone is very angry. Captives. A sense that fluid is coming out from the throat. Fluid in the throat, and they're coughing. It was like a clear fluid, but thick, very like mucus, very thick in the throat. No happiness here. Fugitive. A captive. Just a bunch of dropped keys. Keys is a bit preliminary. It could be some other item which reminds of keys. We don't know that yet. Oh gosh, wow. I shouldn't be laughing because I know what type of a target this is, but just these really strong feelings and sensations. A body being dragged. I saw. I should not be doing these cases because I'm just laughing and giggling. It's so inappropriate, I'm sorry. I saw a face and a head, and it looked like a metal thin pins across the mouth. Oh gosh, this feeling. Someone is hiding in the brushes. Now we have a person element. We've had hints of sensations and emotions and mind and things, but now we have a body person. It appeared to be lying on its belly in some kind of bushes or just something over it, like a messy. I don't want to make it green because I'm not sure yet what it is, but there's some kind of a mess over it. Concealment, irregular shape with holes. Could be brushes, which means bushes against the ground. So sad. This is the person who was gurgling with the fluid coming, or in the mouth, filled with this thick mucus fluid. Really a struggle for the person. And because this person was hit, a mellow and gentle personality. So the determined sensation that I had earlier of a very determined mind, it doesn't seem to be this person unless it's two different times, because this person is very, very mellow and gentle and being the sweetest person anyone could be, like very gentle and mellow, like I'm sorry, I'm sad. I don't want to say like a victim mentality, but just being exceptionally gentle and cautious and kind. This person who's lying down. The car is going really fast. Nothing angry here at the car. Some kind of ropes or something to tie with. Since we're in the car, we don't know yet. It could be seat belts, but there's some kind of belt ropes to tie with. Smells of car exhaust. Since we have car exhaust, now we know it's a modern car. We're in a time period where cars were existing, as well as cars were common enough that they were not just the novelties. I already know for this target pool, it's going to be from the, I think the earliest was from the 1600s up until the year 1999. So now we have some kind of a range which is in the 1900s. Legs, jeans, pants. I saw it, but it didn't feel like a life form. We have a lot of these thin wires. So I'm not just finding random things, this and that around the person. Everything that does shows up because it's important for the story. These wires cannot break. They're sturdy. Music hanging wires. So there's something about a sound, I'm assuming some kind of sound or reverberation or vibration, something to do with these wires. Someone feels very sad here and sorrow. A gentle and calm person. Not timid, but incredibly kind, gentle person is here. Exceptionally so. These wires somehow go across the face. Strong, sturdy wires. The liquid smells putrid. There is an ominous feeling. Somebody's body got put inside something. Inside a box or a case or a compartment. Nothing stops the car as it's moving. Nothing stops it. Lots of fluid around the car, which means technically it could even be a boat. We're just investigating here. I don't know how deep the water is, but there's water around it. It's like a lake area. It feels like a wildlife park. It feels like some wood structures, maybe a dock or a walkway out of wood, like the water. It has a very soggy swamp, marshes feel. It's very wetlands. It feels like it's far away from settlements, even though we find at the water, at the main water, some wooden structures, meaning maybe it's a fishing spot or more like maybe they shoot birds from here or something, but it's still very far away from anything. Because earlier I had an impression of a town. It feels very calm at the items. Someone dropped them. They cannot be taken up again. So we have items that have been dropped, and for some reason we cannot take them up again. Let's look at the person on the ground. Calmness, so sad. Broke a fingernail chipped, snapped. Lots of messy hair. Impression of brown hair, somewhat long, kind of a mess. Dark brown hair. It was messy hair. It was in a disorder. Just a bundle. Person said, I apologize. I am sorry. I am in a sticky mess.
I apologize. I am sorry. I am in a sticky mess.
I apologize and I am sorry. These are words now, and you can see how beautifully it reflects on the character I have described earlier. This very sad and gentle feeling. I cannot get out, says the person.
I cannot get out.
The gurgling, the fluid in the throat, and it feels very thick in this person. A stagnant water is found, meaning it's not a fresh water, it's stale, not very clean and not flowing, not fresh. Oh gosh, that feel. this feeling. Oh gosh. I'm getting these strong sensations. What is that? It was like the figure of a man, but kind of like gray and almost like a body that has been lying in water, because it was wrinkled, and the softness of the skin and the color. Putrid smell, just from the water itself, the smell of the water. Entrapment device. Oh, it felt like inhaling water. I felt this fluid coming in down the throat and into the lungs. There was a pressure and a pain associated with that. Lots of small metal pieces like bolts. Now we're gonna push around this car and see what shows up. It registers as an ambulance. Doesn't mean it is an ambulance, but it reminds of or feels like. What is an ambulance? It's a car that transports sick people or injured people. Ow, my arm got stuck. Ow. This arm here got stuck and it got twisted a bit, and I felt the pain in the bone here from the twist. Someone calling for help. Someone has water filling in through the nostrils. Captives are getting stuck. So by now we have a lot of impressions about captives, a person being captured. No resilience, but almost a feeling of fatigue. Mostly moist here. Again, this sense of water environment, wet environment. Now we're gonna look at the person again, which I drew on the ground. Stuck. A sense like some wheels, almost like a car or wheels, drove over this person as it's on the ground, or at least drove quite close to it, almost like it drove a little bit on top of its back. Sad and melancholy from this person on the ground. The nose feels sore on the outside and numb, like this feeling of tingly numbness on the nose. Clothes. It looked like a woman's dress, which is white and thin, delicate dress fabric.
Someone, help me.
This person has these metal over the mouth, and it could be the wires that I drew here. If we have the head of a person, there are these strange wires. Over the mouth, there's some kind of a grid, a structure against the mouth, very close. There's liquid under this body on the ground, or person. Oh, this is very strange. Items or things or stuff is around the person on the ground. There's interesting things like scattered, a mess of objects around. Sad and sorrowful eyes. Some bad smells are coming from further away, not equipped for this environment. Like this person doesn't have the gear or the clothes or ability to be here in this area. Wrapped around the feet. Oh, my stomach hurts. Something really bad with the stomach. The lower part of the stomach. Just something bad. Quite bad. Someone has a fever. Like on the forehead it's hot. Wires around the mouth. Like soft and soggy and gunky almost. Someone's breathing here. Eyebrows and eyes.
Someone, help me.
Coughing. Sometimes in my remote viewing, coughing at an early stage could also mean speaking, because it's pretty much the same We'll see what it turns out to be. It's probably coughing. Someone sneezes and fluid comes out of the nose. Softness on the belly. Strong ropes that are tense. Bands or ropes or belt or something, cord.
Someone help me.
Exhale. A little bit wheezy, gurgling almost from deep down in the chest. Scratchy sound is heard and sensed when it exhales. Some pearls or beads are being hidden. We had the dress earlier. We had some length of the hair which is more consistent with woman's hair. And pearls or beads also could suggest a woman, a bit of a feminine sense about the pearls or beads. The car hurts me. The car is capable of hurting someone. Oh, okay. That was a bad smell. I'm not going to describe this smell. Oh, that was unpleasant. Baggage. Fury at the car. The car is uncompassionate. So there are all these negative, harmful sensations about the car. The small items, or items, not sure if they are that small, they have been dropped. We had that earlier as well. Nobody takes them. Person has no pants on. It's this feeling of undressed. Beads, like a necklace, like a necklace that has been placed like this away from the body. The belly has been hurt. The stomach, the belly, lower part. Someone has crushed or stepped on the back of the shoulders, at the neck and back here. Not happy. This person is not happy. Gold jewelry. Suffocating mess. Suffocation. Let's look at the wires. Musical notes. Something musical, sound emission, wrapped around the head tightly. Not funny at all. Like strings, thin cords.
Oh no, somebody please help me.
Oh no, somebody please help me. Someone said, but it was so gently said and it felt like a woman. It was a feminine.
I cannot stand this.
I cannot stand this. But it was said calmly, gently. Someone's just this strong like that. So we have this very gentle person, but there's also this very strong. It would make more sense if it's two different people, because one is so calm and gentle and gracious, and the other, there's someone doing this strong, like that.
Please, leave me.
The hair is being pulled. I need to do this ethically and respectfully if there's a victim. At this point, I've described everything I've seen, but going further ahead, I might need to choose to maybe not report everything, because now I'm starting to get closer to this person. Motive damage, a captiveness, conundrum, an unhappiness, a punch, a stomach pain, a feeling fury, a nose damage injury, a stick broken, nails being hit down. This is the metal things across the mouth. This time RV called it nails, like metal nails. A forgiveness knot, so something is unforgivable or not forgiven. Pearls, a mad clash, items that are not taken. Fingernails broken. It's almost like the fingers themselves are breaking. This part breaking, not just the fingernail, but this part as well breaking like this. Upward. A girl is here. So this almost confirms that we have a female. No pants. This time I saw it was like, seemed to be white leggings being pulled off. Someone's head got stuck in a mess and there was these wires around the throat. Pink fingernails. Could mean like a nail color. Someone got strangled. There was something over the head like a garment. A jewelry box. It was like a white little box with a cupped top. It was very feminine feeling, so we're again having impressions of this female captivation design. So we have wires that are used to make someone a captive. Someone coughing, trying, struggling to breathe, and amphetamine rage. Spoons. Again, this kitchen type of environment. Ow, my stomach hurts. My stomach is badly injured. I don't understand the injury, but it's badly injured. Very feminine, feels older, feels elegant, the pearls and the clothes, maybe a few decades further back. Kind of a feel from the style of these clothes and pearls and the hair, just a bit of that sensation.
Oh, please help me.
Gurgling, stuck, struggling to breathe. The fingernails got chipped off. We're not just talking like one fingernail, like if you're doing the dishes. We're talking about several fingers, very brutally, like chipped upwards. It's pretty bad. It's not something that would happen normally. Fingers are bent and the fingernail chips off. It's just not typical. Porcelain dishes, lots of kitchen items. Very strange smell, different from the previous strange smell. The car drives by very fast. The car has many stickers on it. The stickers have like an obnoxious message. You know, like people who have car stickers that say something that's a little bit cheeky or rude. There's that sensation from the stickers on the exterior of the car. Panic in the car. Many hostages at or in the car. Gurgling. Again, this fluid. A fetish. Many small metals inside the car. Wetness, damp. Softness, soggy. I'm exploring the exterior of the car, and later, afterwards, we will go inside. Captives are held inside the car. Someone is being rude. It's driving really fast. Something is being punctured, or someone is being punctured with a thin metal needle. Again, these thin metal wires at or into or through a person's body. Some unhappiness inside the car. A resistance is futile. It's like someone couldn't do anything. A pleading for help. An accident. A chaos captive inside the car. An ostentatiousness. I don't know what it means. I know it's a word, ostentatious. Something about the attitude of we presume it's the captive is the woman. Something about this person in this car is ostentatious, the behavior or the feeling. Lots of many metal items in the car.
Don't panic, it's all right now.
Someone, like a man, said to the captive in the car. Someone would have climbed up and out of the car, but it was helpless. Something about helplessness about this. Ow, my stomach hurts again. I'm looking now around the car. Just give an impression I had. I might sum it up later with other impressions, I have to be mindful of the integrity of the person. Some things I simply won't describe. Someone struggles to breathe. No, I'm not describing that either.
I am weak now. Are you happy?
It seemed to be a woman speaking to someone else. Like she was saying that she's weak now, and are you happy that you did this to me, or that now I'm weak? It does kind of like sarcastically, are you happy? Someone was out dancing, and it looked like the woman in the white dress. Resilience is lost, someone grows weak.
Please turn around for me. Do it now.
Twisted and turned the metal wires.
You are very beautiful to me. You are good looking.
The woman, or that seems to be a woman, is not very young. It doesn't seem to be a child because there's some maturity, but it cannot be used yet to assume the age.
Oh, I do not want to go with you in there.
Someone pulls in her hair. It just had a feeling like submarine, like we have this again with the water and person captive in a space, like in a structure. A table is being cleaned, like a kitchen table. Someone smokes cigarettes.
I am losing my life now.
These wires across the mouth, which seem to always be referred to as a musical, there's some kind of a sound emission box. Part of it is something technical. Someone's body feels very uncomfortable. Hair got twisted. Someone with a big nose. A man. I don't think a woman could have a nose like that. A feeling like 1990s, like of a room, like a bedroom, and just the 1990s kind of look and feel of it. I think it's a woman. Could be a man with, I mean, from the hair. It's just such a messy. It could still be a man. I can't assume from the hair. It's kind of like shoulder length. And it's so messy. Messy brown. Skin color. We don't know yet, but woman's shoes. Definitely we got a woman for sure. It was a woman's shoes with high heels, and the heels were thin, kind of like going out shoes, not going to work shoes. Someone has bangles, bracelets. All right, let's start a second drawing. Oh my gosh, when I'm dealing with this target number, that's when I'm feeling it. Someone's pants got stuck or came off or such. It looks like someone's wearing a wedding dress. It's again this white sheer dress, which looks like older times, but it could also be the style of a wedding dress, like classic old style, just not very modern looking dress. There's blood coming from the ears, from the... This is our first sighting of any blood, actually. There's some blood coming from the ears. Someone's being treated very rough, handled very roughly by someone else's hands. I see a man, an older man, meaning adult. He had big ears, kind of, and he notably had a big nose, and the eyes were large, and there was like puffy under the eyes. The lips were very large for a man. I mean, this was some very big lips. And the eyebrows were very bushy. That's what I saw. I think the skin color was just brown. The hair would have been darker. I mean, it looked a bit more rugged than this. Kind of like darker areas. I think we need to draw some eyelids because he doesn't look so wide awake.
Can you send me to an ambulance, please?
Okay, we have some more modern clothes. This is not an older time period. It was like a thin sports jacket, like 1960s to 1990s. Well, this target pool only goes until 1999 cases, but I really would cut it off there because from the 2000s and onward, this jacket would have looked very old-fashioned, like a thin polyester with a synthetic fabric look and feel, a kind of bright orange color with a hoodie.
No, stop.
Someone says no, stop. In a calm and composed way, like there's no screaming or anger in the voice, and only somewhat determined voice. Like it's the calm person. It's a very calm and composed type of personality or situation.
No, forget it. You are not going anywhere out without me.
We've had several indications that of capture from the conversations. We have one person who is not allowing another person to leave. This is not the first time that this concept comes up. Someone loses balance with their feet at the ankles. Something happened to the ankles, and for that reason the person falls down head first direction to the ground.
Yeah, I kind of feel disgusting.
Someone gets injured at the back, at the waist, on one side.
Are you a human? How much time do I have left?
I saw a man who was slender. It looked like a man. He may have asked me, "Are you a human?" Because sometimes they see me and they're not quite sure what I am or why I'm there. This person's thinking, how much time do I have left? This person was indoors in some kind of a room or confined space and not outdoors. The nose is badly injured. Respiration problems.
Can you find a telephone?
Can you find a telephone? And this seemed to mean not a cell phone or handheld phone, but one that is attached to the cable to the wall. This could suggest a time period before the 1990s, because the cell phones became popular in the 90s, I think in the second half of the 1990s. If we combine it with the jacket that I saw and the cars with engines, we could be 1960s, 70s, 80s would fit the best according to what I've seen. Important note, and that's only because I lived in the 90s, we still had normal cable phones in the 90s. Everybody had their own cell phone, but we also had a home phone. So you could call a person directly on their cell phone, but you could also call their home and see who's there. So you can't assume too much. But this thought referred to not a cell phone, but a fixed cable phone, which you cannot take out of the house because it only works when it's plugged into the wall. So it could also be the 90s still. It's someone's holding the stick and applying force as if wanting to snap it. There's a person on the floor or ground, and the second person steps with their foot, probably with a shoe on, I think, and steps on this person. They're talking. The person on the floor feels confused or feels confusion.
I don't know how much time I have left.
It's like drinking the water, vomiting the water. There's this swallowing and the water in the throat.
The news or the press must not find out about this.
Interesting, the word press. Press is an older term for printed newspapers. I don't think we would use this word today. The target will be set somewhere before the year 2000 because it's a little bit of an older term from decades ago. So there was this sense of newspapers, which isn't really a thing anymore. We mostly have today digital newspapers. Someone has a very big jaw, definitely a man. I can't imagine. Well, we don't know yet this person, but it was a very big jaw and chin, like an older man, like 45 plus or 50 plus, from the looks of it, the feel of it.
I don't want any more of your money.
Silk dress, definitely a woman's clothing. Very thin, delicate fabric. I just don't think a man would wear this. It feels like being stung with a bee. Again, we have this thin needle of some kind which pierces into the body.
Can I please help you somehow?
That was a bad smell. There was a bad smell. It was definitely like the smell from a body that hasn't washed. Kind of a smell, urine, but also the odor of like just being not clean, maybe cigarette or food smell. I think he would have to not shower for several days or week to have this kind of a smell. And again, the fingernails that got cut, snipped. I see a scene outdoors. It's very wet. There appears to be like a small shack. It's a low shack. It's a bit lower. It's less tall than most would be. It's an overgrown area that looks like it's just wilderness. Lots of bushes with twigs, branches everywhere, and little leaves. It's just a messy kind of nature. Very wet. It's like after a heavy rain or just a soggy, marshy kind of wet ground, leaves. Everything's wet. Unusually so. Very messy looking. There are no trains here in the area.
No, stop it. I don't want to go out with you.
Go out seemed to mean like on a date, not just go outside. That's the feeling I got from go out with you. Fingers with long fingernails. It should imply an adult woman. So we definitely have a woman. Also, these hands are very slender and long, which look like a woman's hands. The car kind of makes a turn slowly to stop here, and at the same time there's a woman screaming about the car or at the car or something. The woman screams because of the car. The wheels on the car are not smooth. They're like terrain wheels. Tires, not wheels.
Is there a way to get out of this mess?
I saw car windows.
Stop. Stop pushing me around.
Person with very big ears, definitely an, I'd say older man, but like 50 plus, I would guess. Not in his 30s to have ears like this. Cookies or crispy breads are being snapped and eaten. I'm indoors this time. There are 2 floors. There's a staircase and an upstairs floor. It looks clean and tidy, and it has an older feel. Like, again, this feeling of the woman from her clothes and jewelry, older, like Victorian era feel. Could just also be the style she likes. She's very thin and frail. She looks famished, like skin and bones. You can see bones, you can see collarbones. She has this white dress on. The car drives very fast. We're driving to a lake area because the lake area is very far away from settlements. Even though we have some wood structures here at the lake, it's considered here to be far away. There are lots of ducks and birds here. This feeling again that maybe people would come here to hunt some ducks or geese or such. A man is carrying this frail. The person who is frail and has the frizzy hair is being carried by a man. And she appears limp in his arms. Smoke. Someone's preparing a fire. Snow or ice crystals high up in the sky. So we're probably not in a desert, for instance.
Someone, let me out of here! Help me!
She sounds calm and sad, not angry or panicked or hysterical. A handbag was stolen. It wasn't a very tiny handbag. It was medium-sized. You can really fit things into there. You could even put papers. Flat on both sides, kind of a square frame with a handle like this. A good handbag, like for a person who's on the go, you can fit stuff in there, not just keys. And so it's not a very girly type of tiny handbag where you can't even put anything of any size. It was big enough. I see a fire roasting.
You've been nothing but trouble for me. Where do you think you are going without me?
Water area with wooden picnic tables, cylinder-shaped community trash cans, like in a park. Picnic tables are near the water of what looks like a small lake. It's not a clean lake where it's just water. It's more like a soggy marsh area. The lake itself is just full of plant debris and mess, like mosses or nature in it. The trash can is a cylinder shape that is up on a stick. So first you have a stick, and then you have the trash can. I see a man who has tall boots, like rubber boots for a swampy, muddy area. It just wasn't normal shoes. The boot goes all the way up. It's really a utility boot. It's not what you wear in a city. Proper soles for traction or for wet. It just feels like a boot that's for wet grounds, and it just shines like a leather. Could be a leather, I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like it, and it's a brown. Very unusual. You just don't see people wearing this. We're in a forest. It looks particular. It's not just a forest, it has a very specific look and feel to it. There's a lot of leaves that are very small. It reminds me of birch trees. It's very like thin, lots of twigs and branches. This is forest. We also seen it as bushes, but it's really both. The trees look like big bushes. Very messy. The ground as well, very messy, very distinct. And this man with boots is here, and there's the water area, which definitely has ducks and geese flying. We have what I saw at the beginning of the session, which is like a town, but we also have the nature. I will draw it. We have what looks and feels like a little town with brick houses and cobblestone streets and small houses and like stone bricks with capped roofs. And all of this is bricks, kind of a dark color. Little village town, close to nature feeling, cobblestone, narrow streets. Feels like England. Doesn't have to be, but I've never seen that the United States would have towns like this. Maybe, but it just doesn't seem right. It's more like Europe. At least what it looks like and feels like. We don't know. Countryside village. I was shown indoors, inside of this house up here on the upstairs floor. And it was a kitchen, various items in the kitchen, little cup on the table, and a window facing this way, so you can see this cobblestone street and village through the window, and the window has window glass. And this village is at the border, close to nature, very close, like almost the border is almost here. And somewhere here is a creek. Close to the village, in the green area, there's this little ditch with overgrown trees on both sides. So we have the water, but this time I saw its confined shape, and it's like this concealed ditch, like so. And here's like the hill and the hill. The woman with the frizzy hair was here, lying down like that. So it's close to the village, but it's in the nature area. And just further beyond, like in this direction, it's just pasture, very wet. I've seen cows, there's ducks and geese. The cow was white and beige, a domesticated farm animal cow. So it's type of a rural style of area, more so than any kind of a modern tech kind of big city. It is not. A bracelet or a necklace, which looks like what a woman would wear. It's thin and delicate metal, looks like gold, and it's on the ground, it's not on the body. And I've seen the thick bangle jewelry on a woman's wrist. I've seen ring on the finger. There's a woman with a lot of jewelry. And RV also wanted to say there's no bullets, no guns involved.
Do not hit me. I will report you to the law.
This handbag that the woman has, it has this square shape. It got dragged along the ground outdoors. So she had this bag with her. The woman had some of her hair ripped off. Her hair was either grabbed by someone or otherwise stuck somewhere, and about here, some of the hair ripped off. There are some ambulances here. The trachea is damaged. A dog chained to a dog house outside like a guard dog. There is a car parked here that is blue in color. Someone pours gasoline on the body that has the chipped fingernails. There are wooden bunk beds in what seemed to be a wooden cabin, like camping feel. Someone was dragged by another person out of the bathroom.
Resistance is futile. Come on, let's go.
Someone went dancing, and there met a guy, but they did not go to a bar. A person did not wear lipstick, but she had lots of jewelry and earrings. Tall and slender man with blonde hair, and he has these long boots on, and he's in a very difficult terrain. It's like swampy marsh area. There are tall grass, reeds, and as he's going through this wet landscape, he has to use his arms to bend the reeds aside so that he can move. And he's attempting to hide a body here in these reeds.
By the way, you're not really here, are you? Could you please help me out?
By the way, you're not really here, are you? Could you please help me out? The man with the long boots says to me calmly.
Please, leave me!
Please leave me. I hear a woman screaming to someone. They are both indoors in a room. A woman was stuffed into a car and she didn't want to go into the car. No one has drunk any alcohol here. Everything was done with a clear mind. I'm about to receive feedback. I'm never nervous to get feedback except when I make an announcement. Like, here's the feedback. The case remains unsolved. So it's 149. So we're going to the target pool. 149. Here we go. So this is our target. The double murder of Andrea Scherpf and Bernd Gericke. They were a young German tourist couple shot and killed in Chetwynd, Canada in early October 1983. The case remains unsolved. Andrea was born in 1959 in Germany. Cause of death, ballistic trauma, which means gun. And Bernd was born 1956 in Germany, and he was also killed with ballistic trauma. And they were a couple. Chetwynd. Oh, there's a car. The killer drove a 1960s Chevrolet pickup. Here's a picture of Chetwynd, where they died. Chetwynd has about 2,500 inhabitants. Disappearance and murder. German tourists Andrea and Bernd were hitchhiking in Western Canada in the fall of 1983. On or about 3rd of October, the couple accepted a ride in a 1960s Chevrolet pickup in Chetwynd, British Columbia. The unidentified driver of the vehicle shot both victims and dumped the bodies 32 kilometers west of Chetwynd, near British Columbia Highway 97 and the Pine River. The killer stole the victim's property and dumped a pair of blood-spattered jeans in a nearby trash can, then drove south and bought gasoline on the 4th to 5th October using 5 of Andrea Scherpf's traveler's checks in Prince George, Quesnel, Macleese Lake, Lac La Hache, and 100 Mile House. Investigation. The bodies of Scherpf and Gericke were found on the 6th of October. Forensic dentistry suggested possible European identity, and subsequent communication with Interpol allowed for the identification of the victims on the 16th of October. Over the next 6 years, 900 tips were collected, but the investigation remained unsuccessful. Suspects. The first suspect was Andy Rose. In August 1989, Andy Rose was implicated in the murders in a statement by Madonna Mary Kelly. Rose and Kelly were both working in Chetwynd in 1983. In a conversation with an undercover police informant, Madonna Mary Kelly claimed that in October 1983, Rose had arrived on her doorstep, drunk and covered in blood, claiming to have murdered 2 people. Rose was charged and convicted of the murders in 1991, based almost entirely on Kelly's testimony. Rose was convicted again in 1994 following an appeal. However, in March 1996, DNA analysis revealed that there were no traces of Andy Rose on the bloody jeans from the scene. Subsequent to this and the claims from suspect Vance Hill's ex-wife, see below, Rose was released on bail in 1998, pending a third trial in 2001. Between Rose's release and the 2001 trial, the RCMP repeatedly attempted to get a confession from Rose using undercover officers in a Mr. Big sting operation. In 2001, at the third trial against Rose, the DNA traces on the jeans were linked to at least 5 people, including the victims. The DNA of a third person was salient, but did not match Rose. It also did not match the alternative suspect Vance Hill. Prosecutor Gil McKinnon issued an acquittal for Rose, who had by this time spent almost 10 years in prison for the murders. Vance Hill. Vance Hill was an American construction worker from California who had been living in Western Canada since 1967. With his wife and 3 children, Hill was a hunter and a chronic alcoholic. In April 1983, Hill and his wife separated, and she moved back to California with the children. Hill remained behind in Prince George, British Columbia, 3 hours from Chetwynd. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police arrested Hill on the 21st of October 1983 on 2 unrelated charges of obtaining lodging by false pretenses. In November, Hill returned to his family in California and apparently confessed the murders to his estranged wife Willa Dean sometime in 1984. Hill threatened suicide at least once before, later killing himself on the 28th of July 1985. In 1997, Willa Dean Hill told the story to her nephew, who informed the police. According to Hill, her ex-husband told her the couple asked him if he could take them and he agreed. He began to harass the woman. When her friend protested, he stopped the pickup. They got out and began to argue. He reached into the pickup, took the rifle and shot him. The woman screamed and did not want to shut up. He said he also had to kill her. Current status. As DNA analysis eliminated both known suspects, the case remains unsolved. In 2013, 30 years after the murders, police called for any member of the general public with information on the missing property of the 2 victims to come forward. This is Fabian Rush, and I had him be the tasker for this session, which means he was in charge of deciding which of the many targets in the target pool will be selected to be the target. And since I was doing this as a blind target, it was important that he does not tell me ahead of time what the target is. I'm not supposed to know until afterwards. Fabian has been a tasker for me before, and he constructs incredibly strong signals, and in this one was as well. So I was so grateful that Fabian was kind enough to be the tasker for me.
Just to keep it straight on remote viewing for today, a number of years ago, I had heard about remote viewing, and I was fascinated by what I heard. It was interesting because I've always kind of dreamed that people would have this ability to mentally travel places and collect information. I thought maybe RVers are just a bunch of people who kind of sneak around and they have their friends that they cheat with and all this stuff. So I decided to create my own remote viewing group, which I call Future Applications for Remote Viewing. I was going to be assigning all of the targets myself, so I could test other people's ability. At that time, I needed to be convinced myself. So I thought, okay, if people can really do this. So I created this task. I put it up on my site for remote viewers to come on and try it. Shocking for me, with that target and the next couple targets, now I pretty much just work with people who enjoy the research and enjoy doing the work. And I'm no longer a skeptic. Remote viewing works. That is my whole presence in this field. I'm obsessed with consciousness, the big questions in life. What does everything mean?
And you have also started remote viewing a little bit.
Yes.
And you've done really good on your targets where you are the remote viewer. So you're not only tasking for remote viewers, you've also done some remote viewing yourself. And Fabian, I would add, Fabian is an incredibly talented, creative producer of all kinds of art. You're in a music band. You've created rock operas. You've created all kinds of videos. You've authored audiobooks. And Fabian is incredibly talented with video production. The end results are absolutely beautiful on the FARV Facebook group, where he has tasked remote viewers to go to various targets. He has then produced incredible videos where he presents everybody's data and turns it kind of into a movie. I've had maybe 20 different taskers, including myself. I'm one of the worst taskers for myself because being a tasker and remote viewer is not a good idea for me, at least. Fabian has, through the years, been one of the best taskers. His signals are incredibly strong. For this session, I asked Fabian if he would be the tasker. So should we get into the protocol a bit? I could explain it. So a session can be completely blind with no clues ahead of time what the target could possibly be. This one is front-loaded, as the target is a solved missing person case between the year 1630 to 1999. And these were, I think, 332 different such targets, which I compiled myself from a Wikipedia page, and I put them as links on a spreadsheet. So I knew all of the targets that are in the pool, but there's 332 of them. Then I randomized the order, and I gave each one a number on the spreadsheet. I made that into a PDF file, and I sent that PDF to Fabian. Fabian would use a random generated number in the interval, which selects one of the targets to become the target for the session. And important, he would not tell me which one. So it's front-loaded, and I know the targets in the pool, but there are many, and I don't know which one.
We can do a screen share and show
Yes, if you
what
like.
you've done.
Yes. Yeah, this is the target pool PDF file, which I compiled, and I sent it to Fabian. So with his random generated number within this interval, it would select one of these to be the target. Only Fabian was going to know which one it is. I was not going to know what the target is. I only knew that it's from my list that I sent to him. Yeah, he would not tell me any clues or tell me which one it is. After Fabian did that, he would then generate for me a target number, which he did, and he sent to me the target number, which was 0585-9736. See, I remember it because I worked with it so much. That's finished. Then Fabian doesn't have to do anything more. And then I'm ready to work on my session using the target number. And when I finish, I send to Fabian my report, which is the text report, and my drawings, which is here. And once he has the report, he can then send me the feedback, which means he tells me which one was the target. And then I can go to the target page from the list and see which one it was and read about it and see a picture of the person who went missing. So that's the order in which it is done. Basically, then Fabian, as the tasker, he is also the one who verifies that I did not cheat. I cannot say that I did not cheat because I'm the remote viewer. Who is to say I wasn't lying? Of course, who is to say that Fabian isn't lying, that he didn't help me in secret? But I'm setting all this up to try to show that I did not know who is the target and I didn't cheat. That's why all this trouble of which file, which step comes first and in what sequence. Anything you would add about the procedure?
Well, I have it ready as a screen share. I'll just show real quickly how the process goes. You sent me instructions, basically, that you had sent me the PDF of all the numbered targets, and that I was to go to the random number generator 1 to 332 and get a random number, create a target number. So I've got the PDF here. And so anybody who really wants to read our conversation, you can just pause and look at this in the order at which we did all of our communication. It's just kind of us getting everything set up to run this target. And then you sent me your report, which was the PDF and your images here. Only after you sent me your report did I then send you feedback. The random number generator gave me the random number 149, the target associated with 149, which was the double murders of Andrea and Bernd. And I am afraid to mispronounce people's names, so
I've been Fabian. I've been mispronouncing these two persons' name in the whole chat that I did for the end of session video, so it's fine. And I speak German. I still struggled really hard with these names.
But yes, so that was our entire process. So you can't just randomly guess out of 332. You weren't going to guess target 149. So it was completely randomized. I know very little about the target myself. I only knew what the target was after I ran the random number, and then I created the target for it. So good process, almost double blind, because I still don't know much detail about the target. So I like this process that you have set up.
People might be confused. What is the target number? The target number is typically a random series of numbers. It's like a name. It's like you're calling the target by that name of those numbers. It's just numbers, so your mind doesn't think, oh, this number, it reminds me of this or that. It's just numbers, so it starts as a blank thing in your mind. You don't know what is 0585-9736. You don't know. Well, that's the name. The number sequence, the target number, is the name of the target. Your logical mind doesn't know, well, what is the target? But a part of your mind knows and feels the signal. That's the purpose of the target number. It's so that you have something to look at, some source from which the target signal comes, and you can feel it and work with it to access the target site blind, without knowing what it is.
It's basically a target address, if you will.
Yeah, like an address or like a telephone number. It takes you to that thing that's associated, and it's the tasker's job to connect the target number to the target. And that's what Fabian has done for this one. So that's the protocol. And I went through all this trouble and taking Fabian's time, valuable time and assistance, just so I can try to show you that I did not cheat. I'm very strict on that. It's very important. I could just make a video where I'm pretending to remote view a target. I could lie and say, I don't know what the target is, and I know. That would be unethical. Or a lot of people try to be psychic where they openly, well, I know it's this target. Let's do a psychic reading on it. That's not scientific. They could just be making stuff up in their mind. So we went through, Fabian and I went through all this trouble to try to show you that I did this blind. Front-loaded, sure. Okay, sure, I know all the targets in the pool, but they're diverse enough and they're randomized. I don't know which one. And they're quite diverse. Just so I can show I wasn't cheating and I did this blind. I did not know which target it is. And I do that because I don't want to lie to anyone. I don't want to cheat. I don't want to trick anyone. And also because remote viewing actually works better when it's done blind, because your mind isn't trying to make stuff up that sounds plausible. Your mind doesn't know what is there. So your mind is quieter. Not quiet, but quieter. So you have better access to the psychic data. But primarily I try to do this blind and verify it through Fabian that it is blind, because it's the right thing to do. It's honesty. So it's off my back to prove that I didn't lie. It's now on Fabian's back. But here we are, two people claiming that I did it blind. So it's obviously better to have somebody else say it was done blind than the psychic to say that. it's a bit more credible. Of course, Fabian could also be lying. We could be working together. But this is a better protocol still than if I just say, make stuff up.
You know, there will always be skeptics and people who do not believe. They'll always think there's a lie happening somewhere. That's fine. If there are people who don't want to believe that, it's the kind of thing where if you want to try tasking people to remote view for you, you can do it. So you can be a skeptic and talk about lying and all that stuff if you want, but it can be proven and everybody can do this. And one of the things I really enjoy about working with you is that you have a great deal of integrity. So I'm not here to make Anita sound like this mystical person who has all these powers. It's really just to work with somebody who is experienced at what she does, and she gives amazing data. And so it's been a pleasure for me to see this process as well.
The next thing I was thinking, maybe you could, just to verify the report that I did send you, if you could just read one sentence somewhere on each of the pages. Just trying to make this as cheat proof of a protocol as I can, you know? Like someone could say that they sent you a report, but then publish a different report or such. So I'm trying to think of all the ways that a psychic or remote viewer could cheat and just try to do away with those possibilities.
Yes, I have pulled up your report now. So you want me to read something from each page?
Just here and there a sentence randomly. Just obviously you can't
Sure.
read the whole thing. So
Yeah.
so they hear it in
Okay.
your voice and they can find
Okay.
those sentences in there.
Well, starting on the first page, I'm skipping down about halfway down where it says, i.e., water liquid. A body being dragged, nobody's here. Someone is hiding in the brushes. Second page here, I'm going to skip a little bit lower down on the second page. A stomata is a sickness, RV said. Okay, so page 3, the first sentence of the last portion here says, someone is scrubbing a kitchen sink. The fourth page, first sentence, can you find a telephone? And this seemed to mean not a cell phone or a handheld phone, but one that is attached to the cable to the wall.
I love it. I'm gonna tell
So
you
that's
about
very
it.
specific.
I'm
That's
gonna
very
tell you
specific.
later,
I've
but I
already
love
liked
it. I love
and
it.
then
Just
and
say
then
that.
and then in the middle of the last page, the fifth page, no one has drunken any alcohol here. Everything was done with a clear mind. So
Thank you.
that was a quick read through of
Yeah.
something.
That's the best way that I can think of for you to verify that this is the report you received from me before I knew what the target or feedback was. Obviously, you can't read. You can't show the text report on the screen because I could cheat by editing, putting some other text on the screen. So now part of it was heard in your voice. I think that's pretty good. Obviously, putting the drawings on the screen is also not good because someone could say, I edited the picture on the screen. Could you just describe picture
You were
one?
just thinking about all of the possibilities here.
Yes, of course. Just describe a little bit, like what's on the first drawing that you received from me before feedback.
2 drawings came in at the same time, and they don't always come in the correct order. So I'll tell you what came up for me. I'm going to start with the image that does not seem to have blood on it. What I'm seeing is a green foresty type area, handbag, what looks like it could be a shed or a couple of little houses near the forest. A person with a darker complexion, perhaps, and brown hair. And you drew something that almost looks like a little bit of blood trickling out of his ear.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's one image. And the other page you sent seems to be showing this woman who I'm thinking, based on these images, might be the victim. I see her hand with 2 bracelets, her shoe. She has kind of larger hair, like a brown, she's a brunette, perhaps. I see a vehicle, and I see her laying in a pool of her own blood. So those are some of the how I would just briefly describe some of the images I'm seeing. And also this image of a person with lines over their mouth, which I'm curious what that might be.
Yeah, that was weird. Thank you. So I consider this that you have verified the report. This is the report you received, and you received all this before you told me which the target is. So
Yes.
so consider this session verified by Fabian. It's off. I'm off the hook. No one
Yes,
has
yes,
to
you
be bothered with if I was cheating. If anybody cheated, it would have been Fabian.
yes. And I also have, I'd like to think I have integrity. But yes, so now it is, I'm responsible, and now my integrity is here, and I stand by it. I think we have proven as much as we can online, that we have done this as blind as possible.
It's still not a solid protocol. Like, you could either have helped me cheat, or you could maybe, I don't know how though, but somehow you could have done something to give me a better result. Like, maybe if I send you a report, maybe you could have sent me a feedback which matches the best to help me win. But
none of that happened.
and now only for the last third part, would you just briefly say, why would you not help me cheat?
Why would I not help you cheat?
Yeah.
Well, no one can verify this outside of us, but the truth is, I'm here because I'm fascinated. I started as a skeptic, as I said earlier, and I'm not interested in creating conspiracy theories. I have no interest in hoaxes. I grew up fascinated by UFOs and all these things, and so many of these things can turn out to be hoaxes. And what I think is the biggest tragedy in world mysteries is when somebody out there wants attention and they create a hoax, and then people look into it, and then everybody becomes sad because because it makes the world seem like it doesn't have mystery when people make stuff up. I wouldn't help you cheat just because I'm here as one of the original skeptics who just wanted to see something interesting and have a better understanding of something on a scientific level. So I'm fascinated with consciousness, how the mind works, how the brain works. There's so much scientifically that needs to be understood about the universe we live in. And if it turns out that not everything is as solid as we think, and that there is perhaps a quantum field of information all around us all the time that we can tap into, if we find out things like that are true, then that will revolutionize the future. And nothing's going to happen if we are lying and making stuff up. So I'm here purely because I want to see this as a stepping stone to a brighter future where we are becoming something more as humans.
As for why I would not cheat, number one reason, I don't have to cheat. This works. Remote viewing works. Also, I've studied real science, chemistry and physics, and done some laboratory work. Just one of the main reasons from my science background, in a chemistry lab, you set up the experiment with your chemicals, with the equipment, measurements, the procedure is written out. If you do all that work and it still fails, the experiment fails to give the expected result. If it still fails, it's okay. In science, it's not embarrassing. It doesn't mean you're a bad scientist. You didn't fail. In the chemistry lab environment, there's this beautiful disconnect between you as a person and the experiment. The experiment is set up, and you step back and you leave it alone because you don't want any human factor influencing your hands, your mind, your thoughts, your wishes have nothing to do with it. You set it up and you leave it, and then you watch what the result was, and you respect the result. And even outlier data points, when you get something that seems wrong, doesn't fit in, you still include it. And it's okay. You still get an A, grade A on your lab reports when you explain what went wrong and so forth. So this background, more than anything, strengthens my integrity and honesty as a remote viewer as well, because it's okay to fail. Sometimes I fail a remote viewing session. It's fine. It's nothing personal. My RV motto has been since the start, it is what it is. We get what we get, and everything is okay. It can be good, it can be bad. It's fine. There's no reason to cheat. It is what it is. I don't have to try to do good.
This is all data collection.
Yeah.
It's just data collection. Sometimes you get something and sometimes you get something else. You write down all of it.
Another reason why I would not cheat is I have many years of background of being very interested in the skeptical movement. Skeptics are people who specifically look at paranormal and psychic claims skeptically. They want evidence. They want to try to debunk or falsify psychic claims. I'm very interested in that. And I include that in my work in remote viewing. So those are some of the reasons why I would not cheat. So thank you, Fabian. Can I just tell you why I was so happy you read the telephone?
Oh, sure.
So this target pool goes from year 1630 to 1999 with 332, I think, cases of solved missing people. So, of course, as I'm working, I'm interested. I wonder which time period we're going to be in. One of the clues I got was somebody from the target was asking me if I have a telephone. And I picked up that they were thinking of, this 1980s, 1970s, the telephone with the turntable and this coiled cord that plugs in the wall, not a cell phone. So I was really happy when I got that impression, and I wrote in the report about this, and I said, this is going to probably be before 1990s, because that's when most people already would have said, do you have a cell phone? So like up to 1980s and maybe 1960 to 1980. This target was from 1983. So it was really awesome to get that kind of a clue. Yes. I love that telephone that you read it. Wonderful. I was so happy you read that part.
Well, maybe that was meant to be, because that's funny. I was just skipping around randomly.
Yeah, I love that one.
It's a wonderful clue.
And another one, you described the woman, and you said, a woman, it looks like you drew a woman with big hair. You can see on the feedback picture, I drew Andrea and her 1980s hairstyle very correctly. Yes. Yeah, thank you so much for tasking. I had a beautiful signal. It was so strong, it punched me back. I had a good session, and thank you for not just tasking, but thank you for verifying the session.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you for asking me to be a part of your data collection. I try to stay involved where I can. I'm fascinated by this work, so thank you so much for trusting me to be your partner in this. And it's great fun. Let's do a lot more.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Okay.